And the Chief Minister's crucial meeting is with Prime Minister Narendra Modi amid a raging debate over Article 35A. While we will explain in detail what the article says and what the controversy is all about, it's important to mention here that this meeting is being viewed as a major political development. No word yet on whether the meeting has happened. This because coalition partners, the PDP and the BJP, are not on the same page at this point on this issue. Meetings are lined up with the Prime Minister and the Congress Chief Sonia Gandhi to discuss the legal challenges to Article 35A of the Constitution. The Chief Minister, sources say, is keen to build a consensus against scrapping the constitutional provision which empowers the Jammu and Kashmir legislature to define the state's permanent residents and their special rights and privileges. Fears that Jammu and Kashmir's special status within the Indian Union could be diluted has had an unusual political effect. It has united the two main valley-based parties that are arch rivals, the ruling PDP and the opposition National Conference. In fact, Mufti called on opposition NC President Farooq Abdullah this week to seek the support of his party on this issue. Sources in the PDP said striking down the article will be a catastrophe for all mainstream political parties in Kashmir. The opposition parties in Jammu and Kashmir, led by the National Conference, claim that the abrogation of Article 35A is akin to playing with fire and can trigger bigger revolts than 2008 Amarnath land row across the state. Now, in fact, talking more about this, in fact, at a recent event in Delhi, Mehbooba Mufti said that if Article 35A was tinkered with, there will be no one in Kashmir to uphold the national flag. Let's listen to what she'd said a couple of days ago.
We want the others to respect the constitution of our country. What are we doing? Abhi bhi Supreme Court mein hamara 35A chal raha hai. Who is doing it? Why are they doing it? Let me tell you, let me share something with you. कि 35A के साथ छेड़छाड़, ये जो साहब मेरे पास सामने बैठे हैं या मैं बैठी हूँ, जो वहाँ पर हमारी पार्टीज जो वहाँ नेशनल फ्लैग को लेके खड़े होते हैं, सारे रिस्क के बावजूद हमारे वर्कर्स, इनके भी हज़ारों की तादाद मारे गए, हमारे भी मारे जाते हैं. तो मैं ये बताने में मुझे कोई गुरेज नहीं है कि उस झंडे को कांधा देने वाला कोई नहीं होगा.
You all know that the agenda of BJP and RSS is basically to erode the autonomous structure of this state. What is this Article 35A for? Protecting the people of this state, whether from Jammu, Kashmir or Ladakh. I think Chief Minister of the state has made a statement that if 35A is removed, right, she will quit the chair. Right. I hope she stands by that statement of hers.
Anxieties about the special status are not new to Kashmir. In fact, this time they were triggered by a petition in the Supreme Court challenging Article 35A. That's a constitutional provision that allows Jammu and Kashmir to define its permanent residents. Essentially, it's intended to preserve the state's demography by barring non-residents from buying land or property. The Supreme Court has also sought the centre's response to another plea challenging the validity of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution that grants autonomous status to Jammu and Kashmir. And to talk more about this, Mr. Rahul Jalali, who's a senior journalist and an expert on Kashmir, is with me here in the studio. Sir, thanks so much for joining me here. Let's start by talking about this much talked about meeting between the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister and the Prime Minister. We have no word about it, whether it's happened or not, but what is she hoping to achieve?
Well, I think what she wants is an assurance from the Prime Minister that the centre will not go or be supportive of any move which abrogates Article 35A, right, and now, of course, Article 370 also. But I think she should have done her homework because the centre's stand is clear. The moment the Attorney General of the government, I'm talking of Delhi, right, Venugopal, stated in the Supreme Court that they want a broader, a larger debate on this issue, that's 35A.
That's right.
The centre did not really openly take any stand on it. And it's a peculiar situation because BJP is in power in the centre, BJP also is in power in the state. Now look at it, in the state, they are opposing any abrogation of Article 35A, while the centre has no stand. So I think it's necessary for BJP to clearly spell its stand, because if you remember, as a party, they have talked about doing away with 370 or even the special status of Jammu and Kashmir.
Right.
So they need to clarify that.
Right. I want you to please stay with me. Let's, for our viewers, just quickly take a look at what the article is all about. Very short pointers. Back in 1954, this Article 35A was inserted through a presidential order called the Constitution Application to Jammu and Kashmir Order of 1954, which was issued under Article 370 and absorbed in Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, adopted in 1956. It defined permanent residents of Jammu and Kashmir clearly, and a look at what this entails in simple terms. This article empowers the state legislature of Jammu and Kashmir to define permanent residents. As we mentioned, these residents are then eligible for special rights and privileges which the legislature can provide. Further, the laws made under Article 35A cannot be challenged on the ground that they affect the fundamental rights of other Indian citizens. Therefore, a person from a state like Uttar Pradesh cannot move the court saying that their right to equality is infringed by a special right given to a permanent resident of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, these are the finer points, and the right of the state legislature is not unlimited. As we tell you, they can give these special rights and privileges only in the following 4 categories, and they go as employment under the state government, acquisition of immovable property in the state, settlement in the state, or right to scholarship and such other forms of aid as the state government may provide. Mr. Rahul Jalali, 63-year-old law, why has it become a political flashpoint now?
Because there's no other flashpoint left. I think, if you take it in a lighter note, I think that's one. And sincerely, that's one consideration towards it, because if you look at it, the challenge to Article 35A, a body called We the Citizens went to court in 2015. It's been 2 years, and 2 years everyone was silent about it. No one raised this issue. This issue came about after the Attorney General went to court and stated that there should be a larger debate on it.
Right.
I personally feel there's nothing wrong with a larger debate, because there are contentious points in this 35, or rather the state subject certificate, because 35A does not guarantee a state subject certificate. Look, State Subject Act was passed in 1927 by the then Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir, Hari Singh, to prevent the English from controlling property in Kashmir. Also, the 54 presidential order was put in there just to give legislature of Jammu and Kashmir exclusive powers when it came to the state subject, the PRC as it's known, Permanent Residency Certificate.
And there are some contentious points
The contentious points are, there are 2 points which I think needs to be re-examined. One is, when a woman state subject, person from Jammu and Kashmir, when a woman marries an outsider, her children lose right to every property, ownership of property in the state. That's one. Because it flies in the face of gender equality. The second contentious point is that Maharaja Hari Singh had settled Dalits, Valmikis as they are called, in Jammu region. In 1957, they were given state subject residency, or it's also called residency certificates. The State Subject Act was applied to them. But this was with a proviso, which meant that the children of these Dalits are enforced to only work, in quotes, as Safai Karamcharis. Now, this is a gross violation of human rights. So I think these are issues which need to be debated.
And perhaps that's why a larger debate.
But when it comes to property, this is very much a jurisdiction of the state government, the state assembly, because property, ownership of property is a state subject.
Right.
The center cannot
and such
intervene.
provisions are there in at least 10, 11 states
the entire
in
Northeast.
the country.
You see, if you look at it, Article 35A is somewhat parallel to Article 371 of the Indian Constitution, which applies to Northeast.
Right.
Article 370 is a very different thing. That suspends application of laws passed in the central list to Jammu and Kashmir unless the state assembly
even
wants
in Himachal. I mean, it's Article 371 A, B, C till I.
Yes.
So, but you know, can the Supreme Court decide to scrap Article 35A on any basis?
Well, I think it's a very difficult thing for Supreme Court to do. Yes, I mean, technically they can. But they are challenging a presidential order.
Right.
Now, challenging that presidential order, abrogating it, means they'll have to revisit a number of laws, which have been passed or brought into Kashmir through this presidential order. Also, what would be the state status of all the ordinances which the president passes? You're questioning one presidential order, so you are opening up a hornet, a can of worms there. So I do think there will be a judicious, and I think the Attorney General's intervention there was nothing wrong with it, calling for a larger debate. I think that's necessary.
But at this point, as you mentioned right at the start, how important is it for the centre to make it stand clear to settle this debate, at least for now?
I think it's very important for the centre to intervene. I think the centre can take the initiative, call all these opposition parties or all the parties which are mainstream parties who had assembled in Kashmir. Look, everyone is united on this issue. They can call them for talks to Delhi. They have to diffuse the situation. Article 35A should not be another battleground in Kashmir. We already have many other battles. So I don't think the centre should allow another battle on Article 35A. At least they can initiate. I think the ball is in their ground. They have to initiate. I think what they can do is go into a broader negotiation with all political parties, build a consensus.
Absolutely.
And consensus, I think dialogue is fair enough. I pointed out there are two issues straight away which need to be debated. But I don't think we should jump to any conclusions and start talking of abrogation and things like that. Kashmir is already in great problem. It's suffering. There is a turmoil there. So let's look at it with calm sort of nerves and let the centre intervene, call all these political people who had assembled in Kashmir together. Let them come to Delhi and start talking. And also a political consensus in Delhi within national parties on Article 35A.
And also look at it from the legal point of view first, rather than politicizing it. As the Attorney General, I'm sure he meant that a larger debate, looking at the legality of issues, what can be done, what cannot.
I think it's got to be both legal, the debate, the legal as well as political. You cannot
do one without the other.
Yes.
Absolutely. Mr. Rahul Jalali, thanks so much for joining me on the show and sharing your thoughts. It's, of course, a contentious issue at this point, but let's hope the centre comes up with a clear stand so that all this confusion that surrounds parties in Jammu and Kashmir, including the ruling PDP, which is an alliance with the BJP, they need clarity. The people of Jammu and Kashmir need clarity. That's the end of this debate.